Top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning. Welcome everyone to another show, episode two here of Getting in the Green with Perfect Strangers. I am Daryl and I've got my sharp man with me, Corey. Corey, top of the fucking morning, bro.
Yeah, this
How are
is
you
a
today, man?
this is a different angle here for you guys, man. We're gonna try and get you the first info of the day.
Yeah,
We're a
yeah,
little early on the injury news. We're a little early in general, but
yeah.
we're gonna give you something to listen to on the way to work. Get your stuff right here on early in the morning.
Absolutely. Now, we decided to go this route because of our scheduling, right? So it seems like it'll work best if we go early in the morning, only because we've got so much going throughout the day. I know you are beyond an extremely busy person, but it's just the passion that you have for sports, man. So I do appreciate you doing this, Corey. This is a good thing. So if you're going to make the commitment, then I'm going to make the commitment, and we are going to get this started for you. So, like they always say, early bird gets his worm, man. So let's get the worms today. Let's get the worms. We have some basketball to talk about, man. Now, we just real quick on last night, a couple of highlights. We did see Steph shoot his ass off yesterday to try to break that record. What do you think about that yesterday?
I mean, I thought at some point you just got to realize you're not getting there that night. Like, when you're 6 of 17, I mean, you're not
Yeah,
going to put up another 17 threes tonight. So
yeah,
at some point, you just got to dial it in. But I don't blame him for going for it. It would have been cool to do it at home.
yeah,
He'll break it here in a game or two. It's just one of those
yeah.
things. It's also they're so good that it doesn't really affect anything, him playing like that.
Right, right. The thing is I noticed Portland was picking him up half court early in the game, bro, and three-quarter court. So I was very, very, very surprised that he was going to go for it. Another quick fact I didn't know, Steph hasn't made double-digit threes all season. I didn't know that. I had heard that on TV today that he's still, I mean, even though he's been shooting lights out, he has not made double-digit threes in a game this season. So I don't think he gets it done. Dylan Brooks had a couple comments yesterday, man, at the end of the game, that he had gotten ejected. He had said the NBA officials were not out to protect the players. Do you see a fine coming in his mailbox anytime
Oh,
soon?
absolutely. He's getting fined.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things. The emotions build up here during a game. Somebody's got to be there, man, to help you reel it in before you get in front of a camera. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he'll see a fine. He's not wrong. I mean, the ejection was warranted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just a tough one for that guy. I mean, he's young. He'll come around. I do constantly feel like they just don't get the calls over there.
Hmm.
But that comes with being a young team. They don't have the respect yet. But it'll come. It'll come and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He got it off his chest and now hopefully we'll just get back to some basketball.
Yeah. Yeah. Get back like tonight.
Yeah.
Last thing that kind of stuck out to me, Obi Toppin's in between the legs dunk. You saw him do that in a game in college when he was at Dayton. What do you think about him doing that dunk, man, even though the Knicks lost that damn game?
Kids having fun, man. Yeah, I don't got a problem with it. Go out there, show out. If it was one of the greats, no one would have said anything.
Right.
If LeBron goes up for it, nobody's even blinking an eye. So I'm all for it, man. Go have fun. Win or lose, man, you can't take it too seriously. You get to play
Yeah.
basketball for your living. So
Yeah. Well, I wonder what Tibbs is going to say about that. I would be surprised if Tibbs doesn't play him for a game or two. But at this point, man, the Knicks are just I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with them. They are not looking good. Nowhere near how they were in the beginning of the season. So yeah, we will see what happens with that. Let's get into these games, man. It's a
we
short
got three,
slate
a lot of
again.
back to backs here.
Yeah, a lot of back to backs. First one here on a back to back is actually the Jazz. going to Philly. So Philly didn't travel, but they played last night. Or they did they play? Actually, let me make sure. Um,
We
Philly,
had Philly at Charlotte last
yeah,
night.
they were at Charlotte, right? So Philly got on a plane, and so did Utah. They played Minnesota. Right now, this line is at 3.5. I had seen this as low as 2 earlier in the week at some books, but this line is at 3.5. The total right now is at 217.5. I don't think Joel Embiid plays today. I really don't. Utah played a pretty fast game. They beat Minnesota yesterday. That game, I believe, was 134 or 136 to 104. Donovan Mitchell had a night. It was just Rain City. Anthony Edwards had a night, but it was a fast game. Now, I don't really see Utah resting players per se, but I can definitely see Doc resting players here. So what do you like about this game? Or are you playing any players in your DFS for this game?
These two teams, usually Philly is just a must play for some guys just because they've been so decimated with injuries and everything else. There's usually value on Philly every night.
Mm-hmm.
Utah, on the other hand, never get injured. So there's never. Where's this coming from? There we go. ESPN videos.
Yeah.
Utah, on the other hand, are priced accordingly. They're never hurt. They're always in blowouts. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even last night, I don't really fear them off a back-to-back because outside of Donovan Mitchell, nobody played 30 minutes. They cruised. And that's the general story for Utah there. There's
Yeah.
also something to be said about a team that just practices and lives in the altitude. Their gas tank is just slightly better at all times. Yeah, I mean, if Embiid doesn't play, then you've got to, Andre Drummond becomes a must start in fantasy.
Okay.
So that's one we'll definitely keep an eye on if they're going to rest that guy. I won't be
Mm-hmm.
touching anybody from the Utah side of things here. They're really balanced. Mitchell has his games where he just goes out and gets it done, but he's priced accordingly, and he doesn't do it every night. So for me, if Embiid is out, I'll probably be looking at Andre Drummond and then maybe
Mm-hmm.
even throw in like a Tobias Harris or a Maxey to go with him because we got a 3-game slate. We're just going to have to get some action here.
Right. Right.
Drummond's the only one I'd feel really good about right now. And it also just depends who else they rest. They might rest Maxey again.
You
And
think?
that would open up Seth Curry, Shake Milton. So we're just going to wait on this Philly news here. But if Embiid plays, I really just don't have that much interest in this game at all. I still think Utah gets it done.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you an angle I was looking at. I did not know, but Philly is looking at team rankings, or I was actually on Odd Shark. Now it hasn't been updated since the 7th, but I did not know, man. Philly is ranked 4th in first quarter ATS. I had no idea. No idea.
They
So
roll
right
a game
now,
for 12 minutes, I believe. And
yeah,
then he doesn't start the second quarter, and that's big. A lot of these teams are going to that 8-minute mark, pulling
right.
the starters, rolling them out earlier in the second.
Yeah.
But Philly seems to have just kept that old school mindset of the starters play the first quarter.
Yeah.
Then we
Yeah.
rotate the rotation in.
Philly is quietly 15-8-1 ATS. Now this was before last night, right? 9-5 or 7-3 at home, 8-5-1 away. The Jazz, not so much, right? So I was looking right now. I am going to probably press the button because I believe you're going to see the teams their freshest, obviously, in the fourth or the first quarter. I'm going to press the button on the Philly ATS first quarter here. I believe that they can get it done. That line right now is at, well, there is no line that I could see right now, but that's probably going to be Philly +1. When that line comes out, I'm going to step on Philly, and this is the reason why. If Embiid, to your point, if Embiid is out, then that line's going to definitely move, and maybe that's what the books are preparing for already. This is why you see the Jazz having Philly as home dogs. Philly shouldn't be home dogs on their win streak, right? They're having, Utah has their own little win streak going on, but Philly is doing pretty good as of late. So maybe that's preparation. But I'm still going to jump on Philly first quarter here. They beat Utah First quarter, as a whole, Utah averages about 27 points first quarter, and Philly is about close to 29 first quarter. So I do like that look. I'm going to make that an official play, regardless of who, that maybe this is probably dumb to do, but it's just looking as a whole. Now, if you've got multiple players out, this is what we do have to wait for. If you have multiple players out, that could be a problem, right? But if it's just Joel Embiid out, I'm going to look at Philly first quarter plus whatever their points are. I believe that they can come out and win at least the first quarter. So that is a look I have so far for the first game. Utah Jazz at Sixers. I'm going to look at Philly first quarter. All right,
Uh,
man. Let us get into our next game, and that is going to be we've got, it looks like Nuggets at the Spurs, the Battle of Texas, man. And right now, we've got this line. It kind of went up and down. I think it's down again. It's San Antonio opened at plus 1.5. They are now plus one. If I'm looking at the books now, I believe they are plus one. Yeah, plus one in some places, still 1.5 on Bovada here. Even before, they, you do want to have, uh, you know, Denver at its fullest, right? And it seems like I've watched a couple of shows, and I don't know if you pay attention to Jimmy High Roller, but he had made some good points about how efficient and good Joker is. Um, I really can't get a gauge on this team, honestly. I mean, right now you've got a ton of people out for Denver that's going to be out for some time. Um, Denver, they beat New Orleans yesterday, so they're on a back to back, right? They lost to Chicago. They beat New York. They lost to Orlando. They beat Miami, lost to Milwaukee. So it's a win lose, win lose. It's a trade off here. If you're going to go by that trend, then they should lose to San Antonio tonight. But, these points, for whatever reason, I think this is a San Antonio spot because you're not giving Denver enough points. Maybe it is because it is a back to back, right? What do you like here in this game?
yeah, this one's interesting, man. I mean, we know Keldon Johnson's going to be out for the Spurs already. And I think that actually is a big, big hit for their rotation, which is going to open up some value. I mean, we'll definitely be touching in on some of these Spurs wings. Maybe
Hmm.
Doug McDermott, Lonnie
Hmm.
Walker might get some extra run here tonight. And these
Hmm.
guys are cheap. So you're definitely going to want to kind of see who's filling in for Keldon Johnson's minutes. They'll announce it. That's got to be a must play tonight on a 3-game slate for
Okay.
the Spurs. Denver, I mean, God, I mean, Jokic, the Joker looked great last night, man. I
Yeah.
think he scored 74 fantasy points, played 37 minutes, though. He's good enough to do it again, and he might be the top pay up option tonight just because the guy is just an absolute monster when it comes to usage rates since these guys have been injured. Without Murray, Porter, and these guys out there, the entire offense runs through the Joker. So I don't necessarily think he can get you there 2 nights in a row like that. But if
Yeah.
there was a player, it's not his game's not based on athleticism.
It
And those
isn't.
are the guys that are, tired and inconsistent is because they're just going, balls to the wall every night. Joker's just plays within himself. He just has that, even Luka Doncic, like these guys just don't look like they're moving that fast. But
Right.
somehow they just consistently are faster than the guy in front of them. They get it done.
Hmm.
And it looks good. So look, if somebody was going to go back to back 70-point nights, it would be the Joker. This is a good spot for him. Jakob Poeltl, for as good as he is as a center,
Yeah.
isn't going to spread the floor with him like that. It's not going to be able to take him outside. So, I'm probably going to, I do like this game a
Hmm.
lot for fantasy. So I'll probably end up going with the Joker. And if you play Jokic, you have to run it back with some of these Spurs guys and just hope this game is competitive, which, Vegas indicates it will be. So if there's nothing wrong with going like Jokic and Murray with a couple of those backup wings there for the Spurs,
Right.
and then just filling in the pieces in those other 2 games.
Yeah, it's they've had the day's rest, right? But they still don't give them the default 3 points. The funny thing is, you would think there's maybe some type of revenge angle here. They did play on the 22nd of October, and Denver routed them then. They did keep that game close. In Phoenix, San Antonio did a couple nights ago, which Phoenix didn't even cover that 7.5 spread. It
Mhm.
came really close down to the wire, 104 to 108. So I do believe that San Antonio can be competitive. But like you said, Joker's on another level. And this may sound kind of weird, but some players aren't really affected by the back to backs versus others, right? Some players really can grit and grind and still get things done as if they hadn't even played the night before. So I do agree with your point with Joker. I am going to take a lean on San Antonio here. It's just a lean. They've lost the last two. San Antonio was on a win streak. They lost to Phoenix and they lost to New York. But I still think San Antonio is competitive enough, and they have the rest advantage here to at least try to make it competitive. I would probably look at some angles also in their first quarter. Looking at Odd Shark again, the Spurs are ranked second in first quarter ATS, right behind the Cleveland Cavaliers, 15-7. They're 8-2 at home. 8-2 at home, first quarter spreads here. So it's probably going to be even. This just might, honestly, Corey, this just might be a first quarter day for me.
Hey, nothing
um,
wrong with that.
so I'm looking at the rest advantage. I do believe that the Spurs can at least come out and try to make it competitive before it just gets away from them. So I am leaning also here for first quarter San Antonio money line here. I believe it's probably just going to be a half a point anyways. We'll see if we can probably get some movement later on in the day, just depending on if there's a late scratch or, we'll see after shoot around what happens. But my next lean is going to be San Antonio first quarter money line. They're ranked second, something that I really like. So we will see, man. We will see. I'm really, really interested to see what this line looks like if there's anybody out. All right, man. Yeah, so those are the first two games. Last game we have, man. Lakers at Memphis. Lakers at Memphis here, man. Um, we talked about earlier how Dylan Brooks was a little upset. Memphis themselves have been on a little tear. Another fun fact. Now, this is before yesterday's game. I was listening to the Mismatch, nice little podcast I listened to with Chris Vernon and Kevin O'Connor. And, he's a Memphis homer. The dude loves Memphis. Do you know Steven Adams has gotten every jump ball? Like he has gotten every jump ball on tip off. Like he has not lost. He has won every jump ball this season. So what people have been doing is they've been playing Memphis to score first because he's
I get
winning
the ball first.
every jump ball, right? And so it was just funny to see that people kind of look at that angle. He has not lost a jump ball. He's probably going to jump against Dwight or maybe AD. Not too sure today. Memphis did play last night. Dylan Brooks did get ejected. It was kind of a little, it got in a little disarray here with Memphis. With this game, honestly, I'll just tell you right up front, man. I'm a Lakers fan, and it's a love-hate relationship. Now, the game that the Lakers played on the 7th against Boston, they looked so good in a lot of areas, Corey. They looked so good. They played fast. LeBron got out and had, some pretty good looks. They did a really, really good job. Really, really good job. I'm just afraid this. I don't know if that they can do that all the time, right? I'm not sure. Boston's a good team. They did lose to the Clippers yesterday, but they're still a good team. They're not that good with Jaylen Brown, but this is Memphis, man, and Memphis looks pretty good. Besides their loss to Dallas, they were on a 5-game win streak, beating teams like Miami, OKC, Toronto, Sacramento. They beat Dallas the first time. Dallas had that revenge spot and beat them the second time. I don't want any action in this game, to be honest with you, man. No action whatsoever. I'm a Laker fan, but I'm not sure that they can get it done right now. The Grizzlies are home dogs. They did play last night. Lakers had the rest advantage, but they did travel. What do you like about this game? Right now, Memphis +3. That total is at 222 and a half. Basically saying that Memphis isn't going to play defense, and probably Lakers aren't going to play defense either. What do you like about this game?
For me, I really just want to see the starting lineup for the Lakers, because if they've convinced Anthony Davis to run the five, like he started out the game there in Boston, this team is deadly.
Right.
The problem is when you have to start Howard or Jordan, they clog the middle, man, and that really hurts this team. Westbrook wants to go to the lane.
Yeah.
LeBron wants to get in the lane. You can't just have a guy flat-footed down there on the block. There's just
Right.
another defender. When AD's on the five, this team spreads the floor better. That's their best path to victory. But we all know Davis does not like playing the five. He's made that abundantly clear here in his time in LA. If they've convinced him to run the five, at least to start the games, I think the Lakers cruise here. The problem is we got to see the starting lineup.
Yeah.
And I think, that's what they're going to have to go to. Their best addition of the season was getting Kendrick Nunn in the offseason, and he hasn't played just yet. But when
Yeah.
Kendrick Nunn comes back, you roll AD to the five and you roll him into that unit, this team's they're going to be a problem. Tonight, though, for me, I'm waiting on that starting lineup. And then for fantasy purposes, right now, Tyus Jones has great value still because of the Ja Morant injury. He's only $6,000. He's been consistently nothing crazy, but just getting it done night in, night out at that point guard minutes.
Yeah.
I don't mind like a Talon Horton Tucker if they're going to start Davis at the five as well. It just kind of opens up a little bit more for him. He had a good game last time out. As far as the big three, I probably won't touch the big three for the Lakers. When they all play, it's just kind of roulette who's going to really take over. I don't mind a Triple J here for Memphis, $7,000. Not the greatest matchup on paper, but not the worst one either. And then, just because it's a 3-game slate, we're going to be looking at guys like Malik Monk off the bench.
Yeah.
A Desmond Bain costs a little bit more, but you're just going to have to find some value somewhere. If one of these centers does start for the Lakers, I'd probably give Dwight Howard a look at $4,000, depending who ends up getting the go. So for me, I'm waiting on that starting lineup.
Yeah.
I will point out for Dylan Brooks' case, this might not be the game where you start to get calls, man. You're going up against a very savvy veteran team here that's going to get the respect of the refs. This might not be the best bounce back spot for your little rant.
I tell you, man, it's one thing Dylan Brooks doesn't play is scared. So I do like that about him, man. He is definitely a dog. But if you get over aggressive, you will get caught up in a situation to where, it's a chess match with these veterans. So you are definitely right, man. They can get you caught up in some calls that you may not think that you're going to get, and you'll get them. You'll get them. So yeah, to your point, absolutely not a game that you should be overly aggressively playing. But Dylan, he just doesn't like LeBron. He doesn't like a lot of these guys on the Lakers squad at all. They've just tried to, what did Bam say? Little bro him. They've just, and he's always tried to play with a chip on his shoulder, especially on defense. So yeah, this probably is going to be a no play for me. I mean, you've got some people questionable even on the Memphis side, right? You got Kyle Anderson, who's questionable. You got Clark, who's questionable. You've got Zaire Williams, who's questionable. I wouldn't be surprised if any of these guys play, especially on a back-to-back. So a lot of teams, 4 of those teams are on a back-to-back, or is it? Yeah, 4 teams on a back-to-back. Crazy. So right now, yeah, it's a no play for me at all. It's a no play for me. But, the lines are out. They do make sense. I do see how Lakers can still get it done because they are the Lakers. They do have the rest advantage. So yeah, I do lean the Lakers, but it definitely wouldn't be a play for me at this point in time. So let's go back on these plays that we have so far. Right now, I know I'm going to get to the board on Philly first quarter. I haven't gotten a spread number yet, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be plus a half a point. So I'll do Philly money line here first quarter. And I'm going to go San Antonio money line first quarter. San Antonio money line first quarter for my official plays. My official play is going to be Philly, but I'm going to get there with San Antonio. Just going to wait for. I'm going to wait for if anything, see what the numbers look like and what the lineups look like. What are you playing for sure today?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's, even regardless of the Embiid news, it looks like my play here tonight is going to be this Spurs Denver game. So it's going to be the Joker and Murray. I'm going to find my value on the Spurs down there with like the Lonnie Walkers, the Doug McDermotts. Play a couple of this in this Memphis Laker game, and then I'll probably have to fill it in with one or two of the Philly guys just
Okay,
to kind of make the lineup work. But for me, I mean, I'm going to load up on those two later games, get in on the Laker game, whatever pieces are left over there. But I think as far as studs go, I think it's going to be Joker and Murray tonight.
okay, okay, man. Those look like some pretty solid plays, man. Some pretty solid plays. So yeah, short slate today, so we didn't have a very long show for you. I am thinking that we got some money here. I'm thinking we've got some money here today, Corey. So yeah. Uh,
I will point out if we're doing the show super early like this, or even late nights for you guys, follow the Twitter accounts because we will be posting up the changes throughout the day. Those last minute injuries, pivot moves, things like that for fantasy, especially. So take this, build a little raw, line up there to get started with, and then follow throughout the day. We'll give you the little tweaks there so you can make sure you're dialed in when it comes time to tip off.
Absolutely. You can follow Getting in the Green, or what is Green Getting?
At Green Getting on
At
Twitter.
Green Getting on Twitter. You can follow me at It's Duro. I will be posting my plays as well. And yeah, man, this is episode number 2. My phone is blowing up at 5:30 in the morning. 5:30 in the
Or
morning,
man,
Corey. Wow, this is amazing. So something must be going on that I'm not aware of. But yeah, you will see us back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Corey, any last words before you get out of here?
let's get in the green.
Let's get in the green, man. All right. Y'all take care. Have a great day. Take care.